This is the most economical means of transportation in the world, requiring only a basket of fish for every 100 kilometers. Jack rides Toothless, a manual transmission dragon, spinning and leaping through the air at high speed without pause. Toothless accelerates to 100 kilometers per hour with just one basket of fish, making it energy efficient and eco-friendly. But in the next moment, Jack unexpectedly unbuckles his safety harness. He tilts his body and plunges straight down from high altitude, savoring the thrill of free fall. Then, Jack opens his glider and soars through the air like a bird. Despite Jack's preparations, danger lurks everywhere. He narrowly avoids crashing into a cliff, thanks to Toothless, who shields him just in time. After a successful landing, Toothless becomes angry, leaving Jack with only a silhouette as it reproaches his reckless behavior. Although Jack pretends to fight Toothless to cheer him up, Toothless stands up directly and walks down by step to the edge of the cliff. Jack clings tightly to Toothless in fear until he apologizes, and Toothless finally leads him away from the cliff. Over the years, they have been exploring the world, marking each new discovery on their map. At this moment, the goddess Mary finds Jack and asks him to return home to inherit the family business. They are discussing love when suddenly, smoke billows from the distant mountains. They rush to investigate and find the forest here reduced to ruins by fire. They also discover giant green icebergs with remnants of houses and a colossal footprint. Just then, a beast-catching net snacks Mary's dragon, and she plummets from the sky. Surrounded by a group of dragon captors, Jack quickly flies down on Toothless to intervene, but the dragon captors mistake him for an enemy trying to destroy their fortress. Jack learns that they capture dragons to build a dragon army for the big boss, Cain. Despite Jack's patient explanations, the captors remain unconvinced. Jack and Toothless are forced to fight their way to rescue Mary's dragon.
You will never hold on to those dragons, you hear me?
Jack hurries back to Burke Island and explains the situation to his father. Initially relaxed, his father becomes grave upon hearing Cain's name, preparing the tribe to close all gates on the island and forbid anyone, including dragons, from leaving, readying themselves for war. It turns out that a few years ago, tribal leaders gathered to discuss how to handle the dragon issue. Suddenly, a man draped in dragon skin appeared, claiming he could control the dragon population and demanding their submission. When the man was refused, the roof burst into flames, followed by armored dragons that burned everything to the ground, leaving Jack's father as the sole survivor. That man in dragon skin was Cain. After hearing this, Jack disregards objections and leaves Burke Island on Toothless, venting his emotions in the sky. Suddenly, a mysterious figure riding a dragon approaches Jack and commands the dragon horde to capture him. Toothless struggles in the water after being swept away by an underwater dragon. The mysterious figure brings Jack to an ice fortress, where Toothless is also brought. After confirming Jack and Toothless' close bond, the mysterious figure removes her mask, revealing herself as Jack's mother. After they recognize each other, Jack's mother leads him into the interior of the ice fortress, a sanctuary for dragons where they roam freely. Jack even meets the dragon king, who exhales icy breath to establish the ice fortress, providing a safe haven for dragons so they won't become Cain's puppets. Do you know how dragon packs eat? The Dragon King leaps out of the water and sneezes, causing fish to rain down from the sky, filling Toothless' mouth. Afterwards, Mom teaches Toothless how to open its dragon fins, which makes it more agile during flight. Meanwhile, Jack's friends are anxiously searching for him and Toothless. They capture a dragon catcher and force him to lead them to rescue Jack and Toothless. However, they are ambushed as soon as they reach Cain's territory and are captured aboard a ship. This inadvertently exposes the location of the dragon pack and Burke Island to Cain. Cain immediately orders an attack on Burke Island, intending to claim all the dragons for himself. Using the mask left by his son, Jack's father tracks them all the way to the dragon nest and reunites with his wife, who has been missing for over 20 years. Just as Jack's family is reunited at the dragon nest, Cain and his troops arrive. The dragons immediately fly out to resist, but they are continually trapped by traps. Luckily, Mary and the companions manage to escape in time, destroying the dragon traps and releasing the captured dragons. Jack and his family join the battle, with the appearance of Mom and the Dragon King. The Dragon King spits out a huge ice block, accompanied by a cold blizzard. Jack helps rescue dragons all around. Seeing the tide turning in favor of the Dragon Pack, Cain waves his weapon and yells loudly, causing massive waves to surge from the water. Another Dragon King emerges, its massive body breaking the surface, challenging the old Dragon King. The two Dragon Kings engage in a fierce battle. While Cain and Jack's father fight back and forth, the old Dragon King gradually loses ground, slammed onto the ground with the young Dragon King's giant fangs piercing its body. With the old Dragon King defeated, control of the Dragon Pack also falls into the hands of the young Dragon King, with all dragons gathering around him. At this moment, Jack approaches Cain, attempting to persuade him to stop. Instead of listening, Cain orders the new Dragon King to control Toothless. Under the hierarchy's pressure, Toothless struggles but ultimately succumbs to the Dragon King's control. Cain then points towards Jack, and Toothless viciously approaches its owner, ignoring Jack's attempts to call it back. Under the Dragon King's control, Toothless attacks Jack. At a critical moment, Jack's father steps in to shield Jack from the attack but sacrifices himself. Toothless briefly regains its senses, seeming to realize its mistake as it lowers its head to nuzzle Jack's father's hand, but Jack drives it away. Despite knowing it wasn't Toothless' fault, Jack cannot control his anger. The Dragon King commands the Dragon Pack to leave, taking Toothless with him. They prepare to conquer Burke Island. Later, Jack holds a funeral pyre for his father. Jack hesitates to assume the chieftain's mantle in front of his father's spirit, doubting himself. Fortunately, his mother encourages Jack to rise from the sorrow, affirming that only Jack has the responsibility of a chieftain and the sole longing for freedom of the dragons. Only Jack can unite the Dragon Pack and the tribe. These words reignite Jack's confidence, and he decides to take on the responsibility of chieftain, leading his people to protect their homeland. They ride young dragons back to Burke Island, knowing that only these young dragons are immune to the Dragon King's mental control. The Dragon King destroyed Burke Island and tightly controlled all the dragons. At this moment, Jack arrived riding a young dragon, while the others were responsible for distracting the Dragon King. Jack attempted to awaken Toothless' consciousness. Faced with the Dragon King's control, Toothless struggled hard. Jack's figure gradually became clear in front of him. When Jack's hand touched Toothless' head, Toothless finally regained his senses. Toothless threw Cain off his back and once again fought side by side with Jack as they tried to deal with the Dragon King to prevent Toothless from being controlled by the Dragon King again. Jack covered Toothless' eyes with a cloth. Then, they charged straight towards the Dragon King, ready to use the new trick they had practiced for a long time. Toothless successfully dodged the Dragon King's attack with a flip, but Cain found that Jack was missing. By the time he realized it, Jack had already rushed to Cain and used a gas bomb to separate Cain from the Dragon King. However, Jack's glider had a problem, making it impossible to break, and he was about to crash into the Dragon King's tail. Fortunately, Toothless opened his fins in time and sprinted to catch Jack, carrying him away from the tail attack. After Jack successfully landed, he approached Cain. Unexpectedly, the Dragon King suddenly appeared behind Jack and breathed a cold breath at him, encasing both Jack and Toothless in ice. Just as Cain was feeling triumphant, a light suddenly emanated from the ice, becoming increasingly dazzling. Then came the sound of the ice exploding, revealing Toothless, glowing with a blue light. To protect his master, Toothless decided to challenge the Dragon King. Toothless continuously fired breaths at the Dragon King, left and right, making it hard for the Dragon King to defend. This weakened the Dragon King's control over the Dragon Pack. The dragons controlled by the Dragon King seized the opportunity and flew towards Toothless. This made Cain very angry, and he rushed to the Dragon King, continuously scolding him. At this time, all the dragons, except the Dragon King, stood by Jack's side. Even though Cain and the Dragon King lost control over the Dragon Pack, they refused to give up their plan to continue attacking Burke Island. Faced with the unrepentant Dragon King and Cain, Toothless gave an order, and all the dragons prepared their breaths. They continuously attacked the Dragon King, causing him to retreat step by step. Finally, Toothless blew off one of the Dragon King's tusks. The Dragon King, having suffered greatly, showed a look of fear and eventually fled back to the sea. Jack and Toothless successfully defended Burke Island and prevented the Dragon Pack from becoming Kane's puppets. Toothless became the new Dragon King, and Jack succeeded his father as the chief. Burke Island returned to its former harmonious state between humans and dragons.